speakers, so I wasn't allowed to sit, but we're bringing you members of the task forces, the board, and the officers of Fin to discuss who we are, what we do, and how we fit into the broader structured credit community, what we're trying to achieve. So I'm Joseph Lau. I'm the President and Chief Investment Officer of Lord Capital, which is an alternative asset manager that focuses on sustainability and private credit. I'm also the chair of Fin. So I'm here representing the organization and very excited to speak to folks who don't belong, certainly any members. We'd definitely like to be in touch, but new investor members are always welcome. So we'd welcome the opportunity to speak to you today. So we'll go down the line with quick introductions and then start to dive into the content. So Olga?
Great. I'm Olga Chernova. I'm the CIO of Suncast Capital Management. We are a CLO investor, a CLO issuer.
Thank you, Adam.
I'm Adam Granger. I'm the director of Fin, so work with the association on a daily basis, along with all of the board and task forces.
Hi, I'm John Broadbine. I'm from the Morgan Stanley Eaton Vance CLO management team.
My name is Brian Herr. I'm here really on behalf of Sigma Financial and Grupo Romero Asset Management, based in Latin America, but expanding both their lending and asset management capabilities here in the United States, which I think a lot of people are. So conferences like this are terrific.
Hi, I'm Vince Fiorello. I am a founding member of Double Line and currently run my own company. It's called Park Slope Advisors. I've got somewhere in the area about 40 years of experience in this business, and I still learn something new every day when I come to these conferences, so enjoy.
Hi, I'm Todd Denkler. I am the head of structured privates at Corebridge, which is majority owned by AIG.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So to dive in, Adam, can you give us an introduction to Fin? What is it? Where did we come from? And what do we do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's quite serendipitous that we're doing this here because the genesis of Fin really was born out of the ABS East conference. And so IMN worked with an advisory board of investors to curate the content for the agenda. I think it was in 2017 at an advisory board dinner that the discussion came around of, wouldn't it be great if investors had an association that was led by investors and for investors to really advocate for themselves and be a voice within the marketplace. And then, so that was how the association started. And then obviously we're sort of 5 years on now and still growing. We had a pandemic in the middle, which was a little bit hard when you're trying to bring a networking organization together. But I'll stop there because I know Tom's probably going to speak on some of the mandate and mission statement, which I think probably is a natural next step for where we'd go.
Absolutely. So Tom, can you tell us the mission?
Sure. We're trying to promote a well-functioning market and also provide additional resources in a forum for investors to share ideas and discussion points. So to that end, we have three main parts of that, which is one, networking to collaborate and share ideas. We also have educational opportunities. And then just trying to facilitate topic discussions. For instance, we recently helped devise on the SEC proposal about what sustainability disclosure should be in financial statements. And so we try to be an active voice. We're not trying to necessarily, I don't want to say take sides, but we're trying to give the investor voice as well.
Thank you, Tom. No, absolutely, and the way I think about it always is we're focused on investor education because it's the betterment of the market. So it plays into everything that you had just said, and really where our focus as an organization is. It's tough for trade groups to find their niche, and certainly we feel like we're making a better market through the things that we're doing as an organization. John, can you talk a little bit about the membership? Who's involved? We have a very diverse group of investors and even some non-investors that are playing senior roles in the organization.
Yeah, exactly. Fin's currently 620 members. That's across 300 different firms. I think we touch every asset class that's discussed at this conference, and CLOs, leveraged loans, unleveraged loans. There's basically every asset class that you would see a panel on here. We have somebody in Fin that's participating in that market, and then going forward, we're trying to get update the website so there's an online, a way to interact with membership online and in a secure environment.
Definitely more outreach where we can make it to help if anything, help our members understand the things that we do and bring them more into it, which brings us, Olga, to maybe the most important part of the organization, which is our task forces and committees, where we're really digging into asset classes. Do you want to talk about those that you're involved in?
Sure. So FIN has a number of task forces, and why a task force is important is because periodically you have some regulations and we need to respond to the issues quite quickly. So having a task force that is actually very active, where people know and meet regularly, just kind of facilitates this process. So one, we were very quick to respond when COVID hit. We had a number of investor roundtables, right? Everyone was very curious as to what that meant for a lot of corporates. And so there was gloom and doom predicted to the CLOs. Nobody really knew what was going on. And so I think getting a bunch of investors together and talking about what is actually happening, what they're seeing in their portfolios, how they respond, was very helpful in those early days of kind of market craziness. We have also done very important things on the regulatory front that, maybe, touches on Vince's topic a little bit, but when the marketing rule came out, the securitization marketing rule came out, one, we supported some of the LSTA efforts and wrote a letter, a formal letter in support of those initiatives, but we also had a closed door open call with SEC members when they came and they asked us questions, right? And so I think it was so important to be able to speak to the regulators, because their understanding at that point of the CLO markets, I think, was significantly improved by being able to speak to the task force. The eventual rule came out very different from what it was proposed, but SEC had a lot of questions. They were trying to do a good thing. They were trying to put in more transparency, but conversations about, why do we not need an audit, on securitizations that already have a lot of reporting. I think, a lot of the regulators were even just surprised to find out that there is monthly reports from the trustees, right? So having ability to have those conversations and functioning task forces is very important. We also have partnered with some of the service providers. We have an initiative with Copentech that produces monthly webinars and reports. And what we have done is, it's very important, of course, for the market participants not to just have the data, but be able to have some commentary. Normally the commentary is produced by the banks. But I think what we have done here is quite unique in having the buy-side investors appear as guest speakers and talk about the market trends and the data trends, so to help the data come alive. So that happens on the monthly basis. So we're not only active when there's COVID or some market dislocation, but we're also very active on the regular basis. So that's the CLO task force. We would like to invite people to join the task force. I think, as I mentioned, having that active and well-functioning task forces is just so important when the regulators want to have a call. So if there's any investors, CLO investors that who are interested, please ping Adam and myself after the panel.
No, that's great. And CLO is definitely the most active task force that we have to date, but there are task forces also associated with ESG and impact. We're starting up a European ABS task force for those who have an interest in that market, as well as commercial and consumer ABS. So the whole purpose, as Olga said, really is to bring those voices together. One thing we certainly find on the buy side is that there's less communication about market factors. They're more receiving information, as Olga said, from the dealers. So this gives us a forum to raise issues, to raise what we're seeing in the market, and also just to have an opportunity to network with your peers. And I tend to join a lot of the task forces that don't have anything to do with what I do, because it's really interesting to hear what other people are up to. So that gets us really now to market education and advocacy. Vince, I know I picked the right right time, just as you were drinking. But if you want to give a sense as the head of advocacy for Finn, what our efforts are.
Yeah, no problem, Joe. Thank you. We tend to walk a very thin line because you don't want to become, in this business, a licensed lobbyist. Trust me, I've been there. I've done that. Not a lot of fun. But so what we try to do is present our case to whomever or whichever of the financial regulators are involved. It's a very powerful thing. I mean, I know that Brian and I go back a long way on an outfit I used to run called the Association of Mortgage Investors. And being able to sit across the table from a senator or from his chief of staff and or a representative and their chief of staff and say, hi, we represent X. In this particular case, 630 to 650 members from over 300 firms, Joe, right? Mm-hmm. And what, a couple of $1 trillion at least?
At least.
At
yes.
least, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that it gets their attention. And really what you need to, and what I learned back in 2008 after testifying in front of Congress was like, nobody had the investors back in 2008. And we had to fight for that. Well, here you've got an organization that's all we do is work for the investor. All we do is try to make sure that we're presenting our case when we need to. In the case, as Olga mentioned, we had, they came to us, asked for our opinion. We've also written a bunch of white papers, all of which are available on which, I forget the website.
It's the Journal of Structured Finance.
Okay.
That, we wrote the last edition of the Journal of Structured Finance.
Right. So it's well worthwhile to take a look at that. And then more importantly, like I said, having a voice for the investor is very different than having a voice for the attorneys or having a voice for the dealers. You know, we all know what they're interested in. We're interested in doing the good job for our clients. And I think this is a great forum. Plus, we're also working very hard with our educational group, trying to put together something that we can actually come to you with and talk to you about, hey, we've got a great program. We'd love for you to send us your young folks and let us help you train them. So those are the two things I think we wanted to talk about at least.
No, absolutely. And I mean, since you mentioned education, education pairs with our philosophy on advocacy very well because it's about bringing the market up. It's not looking to tear things down. It's not looking to create an advantage necessarily for the investor versus other parties. It's just the perception that those of us that have been around long enough know that training programs don't really exist anymore. So one of the important initiatives, maybe the most important that we're working on right now, is a certification program that would be similar to many others you may find in the market, except it would be the only one dedicated exclusively to structured credit and alternative investments. So that's something we expect will be coming reasonably soon. And to John's point about the new website, really we're looking to incorporate far more market information than historically we've been able to share. So we do educational roundtables, we do educational forums, we do a lot of one-off creation of market information so we can share amongst the group really what are the trends, what's important in this. And the website will certainly help us be able to do that and leverage that resource to the broader community that belongs to Finn. So as Vince said, the last thing would be that, and this is something the task forces are looking to do more of, we have been publishing. So as an industry going out, we partnered with the Journal of Structured Finance. So for those who saw the last edition of it, my understanding it's been rolled into the Journal of Portfolio Management, so we really did the last issue. But really thoughts around the asset classes, somewhat educational, which we find important to regulators, but then also market trends and other relevant information. And that's certainly something that we want to be able to leverage more as we go forward. So, Brian, that gets us to here, but where do we see the world going for Finn?
Yeah, as Joe touched on, the educational side, I think is a huge opportunity. I mean, the markets obviously and asset classes look very different today than they did 5 years ago and 5 years before that. I think the general asset-backed market continues. I mean, it breeds creativity, right? For good or for bad. I mean, so the constant education side, learning more, developing new technologies, You know, it's not just for the, you know, for the folks who just graduated college. It's absolutely, you know, for old guys like myself as well, who continue to sort of learn something new every day. I mean, I think the engagement going forward and the plans we have for Fin not only include, you know, obviously conferences like this, but, you know, more local networking events and things like that, which we hope that everybody can benefit from, participate in, and really take advantage of. I mean, that's one of the big benefits of being part of this organization is the networking aspect of it, which, you know, gets back to you're always learning something from, you know, all of your peers. And I think it's engaging and really important.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, as I think forward for the organization, there are efforts underway to expand our European presence, conversations with our Asian colleagues, and we think bringing all that together is just going to continue to enhance the product that we offer, more access to new and emerging assets, new and emerging markets, alternative markets that people just have not been exposed to historically. So there's a lot of room to grow, and I think really a lot of very interesting things that we could be doing. So that's an overview of us. We're happy to field questions about what we do, how we do it, and certainly how others can continue to get involved.
Joe, before we do that, we should probably tell people what the cost of Fin is today.
Oh, that's a fair point, yes. Yeah, if you act now, it's $0, but if you act later, it's also $0.
It costs $0 to join. It just takes a little bit of time to sign up on the website.
Yeah, the website, or see Adam and your team that are here. I know you've been doing a lot of meetings trying to educate people and bring more folks on board.
Yeah, actually, if you scan that QR code, it'll send me a direct email saying you want to join, so we don't have to go through the whole process of filling out an arduous form. So there's a nice, easy step there.
You freed yourself up to do other things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I actually think there was another slide as well that actually has a link to the Journal of Structured Finance. I don't know if we've got a clicker up here that we can change that to. I know we've mentioned that earlier, but that was a really, I think, great initiative that that all of the task forces did and that we produced and put out earlier on. So that's definitely there for people to be able to view. We've also got and we've been doing it at this conference, a number of sort of workshops with some of the task forces, and really, again, just about engaging investors more broadly and having sort of closed-door rooms where each group can talk about whether it's sort of hot topics, you know, pain points within the industry without sort of having the, you know, the media present. So it's very sort of open conversations. And I think what we're trying to do with that is really promote the monthly calls that we have with the task forces, which tends to be what drives the projects that we do. You know, I know, Olga, you sit on the CLO task force, and, you know, I think the more people that we have on and involved with that, the sort of the more of the larger projects we can do and sort of share the work around. And I think just having many different perspectives helps us decipher what the best projects are moving forward. So yeah, we'd definitely love to get people involved. So scan the code if you can and get in touch. Happy to speak with anybody after the session as well.
And like we said, we're offering free.
And it's free, yeah.
Free to join, just so long as they do it during this meeting.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone here. Questions from the audience? Up front.
Fixed income investors have the same hiring problems as other firms do. Can Fin help young people post resumes and firms look at those resumes when they're looking for talent?
Adam, you want to address that?
Yeah, Sean, it's definitely something that we've been discussing.
You have to repeat it.
I heard it, but I'm not sure if everybody else did. So I think the question is, you know, can Fin essentially be a conduit to help investors hiring new talent? Yes. And I think it is something that we've been discussing a number of times. I think given sort of the breadth and depth of the association, it's certainly an area that we would like to be able to be involved in with helping, whether that's sort of new talent coming in, and I think that sort of pairs with the education piece as well as people are coming into the industry, but also more broadly, people looking to move. I think having people and a global network so that we can sort of easily see the various different opportunities is going to be very beneficial. And I think, and I know that John was mentioning sort of the new platform earlier on, that's something that we will be able to do, and certainly something we're going to be looking to include as a membership benefit.
What else can we answer?
Everybody wants to network.
That's it. Everyone wants to network. That's what it is. Okay, well.
We have a question down there, Joe, to the right.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Tell us more about the education element, the certification that you were talking about, this sort of CFA style thing.
Sure. So consistent with the CFA, the plan is for a multi-level examination process, self-directed, and really just digging in on the elements of structured finance, asset classes, analytics, documents, legals, those sorts of things. And really where we see the value in the product that we're putting together is that, call it a third to half of this is going to end up being the bare nuts and bolts of how this market works. But the rest is really the benefit of including the practitioners. So much of the content, especially for the junior folks who have not been exposed to this, is really giving them a feel for how things really work. We know very well that we can run a model, but at the same time then you need to understand the results and you need to understand how the market dynamics really operate. And that's really where we see the enhancement of this. So a 2-level exam at this point, the first level to be launched soon, and really attempting to focus as much as we can on the practicalities, such as we do here. Okay, well, if that's it, we appreciate everyone's time. As we said, please, if you are a member and we haven't talked to you in a while, we'd love to catch up. If you're not a member and interested, we'd also love to catch up. So thank you, everyone. And thank you to the panelists for doing a great job and continuing to support the organization as much as they do.
Thanks, Joe.